grew up in a highly dysfunctional family. Alcoholic parents, alcoholic grandparents. When I was 7 years old, my dad committed suicide on Christmas Eve, 1970. He actually had me load the gun for him. I didn't know what he was going to do. We used to rabbit hunt, bird hunt, so in my mind, that's what was going on. I was the last one to see him alive. My mother loaded my brothers and sisters and me up into the car and was trying to get away. I heard later that he had planned to kill her too, but she got out of there. She got us out of there. Found out later that evening that he was gone. A couple years later, I was out fishing with my grandfather. We were having a good time, catching bluegills, beautiful day. A little bit later, I lost, my tackle, my line broke. So I went up to his car to string my line and bobber, all that stuff. And I was standing at the back of the car getting the stuff, and I don't know why, but I looked around the side of his car, and he was laying half in and half out. And I didn't know exactly what was going on, but as I went around, I walked up to him to make sure he was okay. He had false teeth, and his false teeth were laying on the ground, and I knew something wasn't right at that point. And we had to move my grandfather he was laying half in, half out on the driver's side, and we had to move him to the passenger side so we could drive to get help. And that was tough. He was, his eyes weren't closed, and I'm kind of in front of him trying to move him. It's like he's looking at me, and I don't know, that was hard, and I'll never forget that. I have 4 brothers, 2 sisters, and we all were into sports. We wrestled, played football. I was really big on the football because I was good at it. I had tryouts for 2 pro football teams, Chicago and Tampa Bay. And when I found out I had gotten the tryouts, a friend of mine and I went out and decided to celebrate, and drank a little too much, and on the way home, we wrecked my car, going about 120 miles an hour, bounced off 2 trees and hit a block wall. He was hurt pretty bad. He broke his pelvis in 4 places, and his head actually went out the window and hit the tree and skinned part of his head off. A friend of mine was a paramedic in the town I grew up in, and he told me later that when he got to the scene, the chief there said not to worry about me because I was gone, and Matt was, he's like, I know that guy, I can't just let him go. And he came over and put the paddles on me and brought me back. And then they took me to the hospital, and I woke up for a little while before I went into surgery, and I could hear voices. I couldn't see anything. I had bandages all over my face, and I could recognize my mom. So I said, can I see? And they were like, we don't know. So I reached up to try to pull the bandages off my face, and I had torn all the leaders off my right hand, broke my wrist on the right side, so I couldn't grab anything. My fingers didn't work, so I did it with my left hand. I looked around, I looked up, my mom was standing there, and the doctor was standing there, and I could see it in my mom's face that it was not good, because I'd torn the left eyelid off. My face was packed full of glass. Ended up having over 1,000 stitches in my face, plastic surgery. And while I'm laying there, I'm laying on my back, and I look down, and my right knee's upside down, my foot's still sticking up. This isn't good. And I remember saying to the doctor, just make me walk again. And he said, I don't know, And my mom told me that while they were standing there talking, they were talking about taking my leg off, and she wouldn't let him do it. She's like, just let him see what he can do. I still have my leg. I've had 43 surgeries since the wreck to keep walking. I've had knee replacements. I have implants in me. My right ankle's fused. I've had all kinds of things done, lots of work. But I'm still here, I'm still whole. After the wreck, I kind of spiraled downhill and started drinking a lot. And ended up checking into a rehab center called Cadis in Chattanooga. And luckily, God put a counselor with me that saw something, knew there was something there, and wouldn't give up on me. And she found in me what was bothering me. You had to give, I had to give back the guilt of thinking that I'd killed my dad. I had to give that to him, and I had to give to God or your higher power, or however that you wanted to look at it. But I did that, and I had to stand up in this room and say out loud, I give this back to you. It wasn't my fault. And as soon as I did that, I was free. I was free from the alcohol. The guilt was gone. I never wanted to drink again. And I still haven't. It's been 18 years since I've had a drink, and I've never wanted one since that day. If I hadn't gone through what I'd gone through, and God hadn't stepped in at that point, I don't know where I'd be. I wouldn't have my wife. I wouldn't have my kids. I wouldn't be as happy a person as I am. I may not be perfect. Not everybody has great days every day, but I wouldn't change it. And no matter how tough it gets, if you put it in the hands of the Lord, He'll see you through it. My name's Chris Hawkins. This is my story.